Attack on Titan paints its story as a battle between what remains of humanity against what seems to be natural predators roaming outside the walls. However, these predators are made to be so mysterious and strange without us being able to decipher anything about their origins and motives for the longest time. These mysteries unravel themselves as the story progresses, until we learn that not only has humanity outside the walls not perished, but these natural predators belong to the same ethnic group as the populace within the walls. In fact, the Titans used to be humans who were turned into mindless beings. At the same time, we get to see several different types of Titans, such as the intelligent ones, as well as the abnormal ones. In today's video, we're going to talk about every known Titan, their motives, their roles, and their fates. Emir Fritz. The story of Attack on Titan started with the enslavement of Emir Fritz and ended with her liberation. She was the first person to acquire the power of the Titans, and subsequently became the common ancestor for the Eldians as the years passed. Due to her falling in love with the king, who had enslaved her, made her his concubine, and used her for her powers, she could not pass even after she met her death. This is because she got stuck in an otherworldly realm called the Paths, where she became the coordinate for her descendants, gained access to those descendants as the paths branched out, and created every single Titan from scratch. Any member of the Eldian royal family who inherited the founding Titan acquired the ability to use her powers. While the story of the show started off as humans versus Titans, and eventually a Titans versus humans theme, it gradually became evident that something bigger was at play, and this is specifically due to Emir, whose powers were used by the Eldian Empire to terrorize the outside world before the Eldians relocated to Paradise. This made her a controversial figure in world history, and she was infamous for having made a deal with the devil to gain her powers. All of her descendants were subject to tremendous racism, while those in Paradise Island grew without any knowledge of the outside world due to Karl Fritz's vow of peace. Later, Eren was able to enter the Paths as a non-royal wielder of the founding Titan after coming into physical contact with his half-brother Zeke, who was a descendant of the Fritz royal family. This allowed Eren to bypass Karl Fritz's vow, and he was able to assess all possible realities and know just about every single thing about the world of the Titans since its very conception. He decided his primary goal was to get rid of the Titan powers by liberating Emir, which led to the end as we know it, with the rumbling and Mikasa beheading Eren. Sunny and Bean. Sunny and Bean are pure Titans who were captured by the Survey Corps in Season 1 as Hanji Zoe wanted to investigate them. She was extremely interested in Titan science and weirdly cared about Titans a lot due to her curiosity, which led to her naming the captured pure Titans Sunny and Bean. While the Titans were pinned and tied to the ground, Hanji used them to observe how Titans were dormant when the sun had set and more active during the day. Meanwhile, pure Titans are dedicated to committing manslaughter, primarily due to their desire to accidentally consume a Titan shifter and be able to turn human again. So, they tried to eat Hanji when she got too close to them, but she was able to dodge away. After some time, a mysterious figure killed the two of them. It was revealed that this figure was Annie Leonhart, or the female Titan, who killed the pure Titans to prevent the Survey Corps from gaining too much information about them. Hanji was devastated after she learned that her precious test subjects had been exterminated. Talking Titan. In one of the OVAs, we witnessed the Survey Corps in an expedition prior to the advent of the original story of the Attack Titan. Part of the squad was a woman named Ilse Langnar, who often took notes in her diary. However, she had been cornered by a pure Titan and would have been killed because she was out of ammunition. However, the Titan proved to have a little intelligence and bowed to her. He addressed her as Lady Emir, which was extremely surprising to Ilse. So she began to question it, but it got extremely uncomfortable, to the point that it began to rip off its own skin. Eventually, it killed Ilse and crushed her skull. However, it wept after killing her and kept her remains and diary hidden inside a tree as a memento. The reason why the Titan behaved that way was because it used to be one of the followers of Emir back in Marley. And by Emir, we mean the one with the freckles who had a cult dedicated to her and was made to pose as a godly figurehead representing Emir Fritz. Ilse looked similar to this Emir, which was perplexing for the pure Titan she encountered. The Puring Titan. Every pure Titan looks eerily realistic, which allows certain faces to be memorable despite the Titan having minimal screen time. One such Titan would be the Puring Titan, who appeared during the Battle of Tross District arc, whose arm caught on to Mina's ODM gear, causing her to crash. He then feasted on her before she could escape. The Titan later made its way into the equipment depot at Trost, where the Survey Corps were trying to restock their ammunition. Armen came up with the crafty plan of taking out the pure Titans present, with the Puring Titan being one of them. It was ultimately ended by Mikasa Ackerman. During the basement reveal, we learned from Grisha's backstory that every pure Titan was a subject of Emir from Marley, who had the Titan serum injected into them, which led to their transformation. The act took place outside the walls of Paradise near a port, allowing every pure Titan to roam outside the walls. The Puring Titan had experienced a similar fate. He used to be one of the members of the Restorationists before Grisha Jagger joined them. Like the others of his establishment, he wished to restore Eldia. He was later captured after Zeke ratted Grisha and Dina out to save himself and his grandparents. He was turned into a Titan by Gross to make him eat Grisha, but Aaron Krueger's presence prevented that. Smiling Titan. Probably the most important pure Titan of the story, the Smiling Titan is the form Dina Fritz acquired after she was turned into a pure Titan. She mindlessly roamed outside the walls for years until it was breached by Bort and Riner. This allowed Dina's Titan to enter Shiganshina District. Meanwhile, Aaron from the future was manipulating events from the past with the power of the Founder and his ability to send future memories to the past as the Attack Titan. The day Shiganshina fell, he directed Dina Fritz to go toward the Jagger household and kill Carla Jagger, as he needed his younger self to witness the traumatic moment in order to become radicalized. The Smiling Titan returned in the final episode of Season 2, where the Survey Corps were on the verge of meeting their end. When the Titan appeared, the shock from the moment prevented Aaron from being able to transform into a Titan, while a severely injured Mikasa could not fight back. Hans tried to fend her off to make up for the day he chickened out when Carla died, but in the process, the Smiling Titan killed him in front of Aaron and Mikasa. When all seemed lost, however, an emotionally volatile Aaron punched the Titan's palm and gained access to the coordinate and its powers. Aaron could not access the paths despite having the Founding Titan because he was not of royal blood. However, Dina was a Titan of royal blood, making her a direct descendant of Emir Fritz. Contact with her allowed Aaron to access the paths temporarily and gain control over the pure Titans around them. Aaron used this opportunity to get the Smiling Titan killed by the other pure Titans around them. Carl Fritz! A pacifist who deeply felt for the atrocities Marley and the rest of the world experienced at the hands of the Eldian Empire, Carl Fritz was the Eldian king who caused the relocation of most of the subjects of Emir from the mainland to Paradise Island. He believed that Eldians had sinned too much and wanted to liberate the countries it was terrorizing. However, he wanted those who were alive to live out their remaining lives in peace. So he relocated his people to Paradise, used the power of the Founding Titan to erect the walls by hardening millions of colossal Titans, and conspired with the Tyber family to allow the Titan shifters, except for the Founder, to fall into the hands of Marley. He also made a vow of peace that would bind every future royal wielder of the Titan shifter to his pacifist will, and took away the memories of the outside world from the minds of the subjects of Emir in Paradise. Well, he told the world government factions that if they bothered the citizens of Paradise, the rumbling could be initiated. He never intended to do so because he believed that Eldians had gone beyond the point of atonement. If death came knocking on their door, they'd have to simply accept it. After his passing, the Founding Titan was, as usual, passed down within the Eldian royal family, but inheriting the Titan prevented them from using the power of the Founder. They were shackled in the paths by Carl Fritz's vow of peace, and often lost their own desires and personalities to adhere to the previous king's ideologies. He was also responsible for putting out a hit on the Ackerman and Asian clans, who were immune to the Founder's mind-wiping abilities and had rebelled against the king's policies. Wall Titans! The walls were presented as a great mystery in the first season, with Pastor Nick and the populace asserting how these walls were created by the gods to protect humanity from the Titans. However, the end of the season proved that the walls were made of colossal Titans. While Bertort's Colossal Titan is a shifter and, as a result, intelligent, the Colossals within the walls just exist without a shifter. They can only be released and used by the one who has complete access to the powers of Founder Emir, which is why no one could cause the rumbling before Aaron entered the paths via Zeke. After Aaron gained control of the Founder, he unhardened the walls and made his colossal titans walk across the earth to flatten it. They moved fast while letting out generous amounts of steam, and the rumbling led to the end of around 80% of the world's population. URI and Rod's father. After Carl Fritz relocated to Paradise, the royal family took up the name Rays and worked beneath the shadows while a false king Fritz was put on the throne to be a figurehead. With the Founding Titan being passed down among the Rays, at some point, the father of URI and Rod Rays became the shifter for the Founding Titan after he became the king. After acquiring the Founding Titan, he fell to the ideologies of Carl Fritz. While Rod and Uri would ask him to use his powers to take out the Titans outside the walls, their father always decided against it because Karl Fritz himself believed that his people should accept their deaths when Marley attacked in retaliation. URI Rays. Despite being the younger son, URI Ray became the next inheritor of the Founding Titan after his father. As a kid, he used to side with Rod in their shared desire to use the power of the Founding Titan to take out the pure Titans and free the people of Paradise. However, he too fell to Karl Fritz's vow and arose with vacant eyes that signified both wisdom, peace, and even godhood. At some point, he encountered Kenny Ackerman, who had been hunting down the military police for persecuting the Ackermans and using the excuse to show off his strength. At some point, Kenny found out that Rays was the true royal family and located Uri and Rod Rays before attacking them with his knife. However, Uri did a partial Titan transformation and took down Kenny with ease, before bowing and apologizing to him for the state-sanctioned persecution of his clan. Kenny was shocked to see the powerful king bowing and apologizing to him, so he joined hands with Uri to become his bodyguard as well as his best friend. While Uri had acquired Karl Fritz's compassion, Kenny was more cold-blooded and lacked empathy. Due to his respect for Uri, however, he desired to see the world from his eyes with his powers as he began to assume that godly powers made people more sensitive and geared towards peace. At the same time, Uri had told Kenny that the world they were living in would not last too long, which turned out to be accurate. Freda Ray. Uri passed his Titan down to Rod's eldest daughter, Freda Ray. While she had grown up believing that she would not fall victim to the ghosts of her ancestors when she became the queen, and that she'd save the world from the Titans outside, becoming the next shifter for the founder made her a pacifist like Karl Fritz, her grandfather, and URI Ray. As Historia's half-sister, she was the only person who was always kind to her, but in the end, she wiped off Historia's memories, making Historia believe that she had no sister named Freda. Zeke Yagger approached her and the Reyes on the day Shiganshina fell, and while she wanted to help at first, the anti-war vow prevented her from taking individual action. Ultimately, she chose not to help the people and decided to exterminate Grisha. Pushed to get revenge for his fallen loved ones by Eren from the future, Grisha killed the Reyes family and consumed Freda to pass the Founding and the Attack Titan to a 10-year-old Eren. Rod Rays' abnormal Titan. While the Rays family was mostly dead, Rod Rays had managed to escape from the chapel and continued to survive. Historia was the only family he had left, but because she was her daughter with his mistress, she could not truly be part of the royal family and had to live her life as Krista Lenz. At the same time, he continued to resent how the Founding Titan had fallen to the hands of an outsider. It became Rod's lifelong mission to return the Titan to the royal family and then help said wielder bypass their acquired pacifist mindset. So, he got Eren and Historia captured in Season 3 in order to feed Eren to Historia. Ultimately, Historia chose against it and broke a vial of the Titan serum to free Eren. In a desperate situation where Rod's dream had gotten out of hand and his body had become broken, he licked the serum off the floor to do the task himself. However, the unusual ritual led to Rod becoming a ginormous abnormal Titan that had an unformed front with visible organs, a height twice the size of the Colossal Titan, the ability to generate steam due to its size, and the tendency to crawl. When it stood up by using the walls as its crutch, the Survey Corps used Eren's Titan to throw gunpowder into its mouth, which combusted on contact with the steam Rod's Titan was generating. The huge body blew into bits, and the Survey Corps members began to take the parts out, with Historia slicing the nape. As the people of the capital witnessed the incident and watched Historia save the day, they readily accepted her as their new queen. Bertolt Hoover. He was born and had been brought up in Marley's Liberio internment zone. At some point, he joined the Warrior program to become a Titan shifter, fight for Marley, and become an honorary Marleyan. During his training, he met the likes of Riner, Annie, Porco, Marcel, Peak, and Zeke. He eventually inherited the Colossal Titan and became a Titan shifter with a remaining lifespan of 13 years due to the curse of Emir. The Colossal Titan was special in the sense that it was larger than every other Titan, standing tall at a height of 60 meters. Bigger Titans also generated more steam, which made the Colossal Titan hard to even get close to, especially because it could manipulate its steam generation by vaporizing its muscles since it was an intelligent Titan. Most importantly, the transformation process of the Colossal Titan began with a huge explosion that could double as a nuke. Bertolt was selected to be part of Marley's Paradise Island operation, where they wanted to retrieve the Founding Titan from the island. Due to the nature of the Colossal Titan, the military believed that there was nothing the people of Paradise would be able to do against it. In the first episode, Bertolt was the first Titan to appear in the show, as he towered over the 50-meter walls and kicked them down, creating an opening for Riner. After the fall of Shiganshina, Bertort infiltrated the Survey Corps with Riner and Annie and got acquainted with the cadets. Due to their closeness, his identity reveals led to everyone considering him as a traitor. Although Bertort resented his actions, he acknowledged that he had no other choice, so he would go ahead with his plans. During the battle to reclaim Shiganshina, however, he was taken out by Armen and Aaron, where Armen allowed himself to get charred by the Colossal's smoke, while Aaron got it from the back after it stopped generating heat. With Armen on the verge of death and Bertort defeated, the Titan serum Kenny had left with Levi was used to turn Armen into a pure Titan, and they fed Bertort to him. Not only did this make Armen the next Colossal Titan, but it spelled the end of Bertort. Armen Arlert. Originally one of the weaker characters of the show due to his lack of strength, Armen made up for what he lacked in bronze with his considerable brains. He would always be at the forefront of brainstorming strategies, leading the Survey Corps to their victories, much like Erwin. After defeating and consuming Bertort, Armen fell victim to the curse of Emir, and he became the Colossal Titan. He was still not a major combatant despite having all the powers of the Colossal. However, he was responsible for obliterating the Marleyan fleet during the raid on Liberio as he transformed in the port, the explosion from which took the naval fleet out completely. As part of the main trio, Armen has always been one of the most important characters in the story. He was responsible for deciphering the identities of the armored, colossal, and female titans. He often strategized, such as the time in Trost where the Corps needed more ammunition, or when he came up with a plan to counter Bertort's Colossal Titan. Towards the end of the show, Armen fought Aaron in his Colossal Titan before Aaron's death. With Emir Fritz being liberated, the curse of Emir and the power of the Titans came to an end, which allowed Armen to live a long life. Riner Brawn. Riner Brawn was one of the many Eldians who wished to become an honorary Marleyan, and in his case, it was to reunite with his non-Eldian father. After becoming the Armored Titan, he took part in the Paradise Island operation. However, while on the way to the walls, he almost got taken out by a pure Titan, but was saved when their leader Marcel shoved Riner away from harm. However, Marcel himself got caught in the process and was killed by the Titan. Afraid of becoming a failure, Riner forced his teammates to continue with the operation and began to incorporate Marcel's personality traits into his own. This became overly evident while he was in the Survey Corps as a spy, because he too became a brother figure to the other cadets and won their trust. However, it was he who had broken the gate to Shiganshina, the rubble from which had crushed Aaron's house. He then infiltrated the Survey Corps as a trainee with Bertort and Annie and created a bond of brotherhood with the Eldians in Paradise. Learning that these people were nothing like devils, which contradicted what he had learned growing up, sent his mind into a frenzy, and Riner developed somewhat of a split personality disorder. Part of him was the Marleyan warrior who wished to reclaim the founder and go back home. The other part of him was a soldier from Paradise who loved and cared for his comrades and was ready to sacrifice for them. His soldier persona was also what made it worse for the characters when they learned that Riner had been a traitor all along. After the Survey Corps reclaimed Shiganshina, Riner went back to Marley and developed severe depression. By the time he reunited with Aaron beneath the stage at Liberio, he was more than willing to give up on his life, but he eventually forced himself to keep going. In the end, Riner was able to redeem himself in the eyes of his former teammates in the Survey Corps, as the truth of the world and the complex nature of war allowed them to understand one another better. Aaron becoming the main antagonist and the warriors forming an alliance with the Survey Corps helped as well. Annie Leonhart. Cold, aloof, introverted, and extremely competent, Annie Leonhart wielded the versatile female Titan as one of the most frightening foes the Survey Corps ever had to deal with. She grew up in Marley with her adopted father, who hardened her with his martial arts training to make her strong enough to become a warrior. After becoming the female Titan, she joined in on the Paradise Island operation and infiltrated the walls. Unlike Riner, however, she didn't intermingle with others as much while she was in the Survey Corps. She also taught some fighting techniques to Aaron, which allowed the latter to win his first battle against Riner's armored Titan. Annie was one of the few people from her squad of trainees to join the military police. After her assault as the female Titan, Armen was the one to figure out her identity and, with Aaron and Mikasa, managed to corner her. Following her transformation, she engaged in a catastrophic battle with Aaron and ultimately had to crystallize herself to stay alive and prevent any leak of information about the outside world. It was not until Aaron got the power of the founder that he was able to undo all Titan hardening and start the rumbling. This broke Annie free, and she eventually became part of the alliance that was formed to end the Omnicide. Peak Finger. While the armored, jaw, female, and colossal Titan were sent to Paradise, Peak's Cart Titan stayed back in Marley to aid the country if it was attacked by enemy nations. Unlike most of the other Titans, the Cart is more of a supporting fighter instead of an offensive combatant. Its endurance also allows Peak to stay in her Titan form for almost 2 months without being absorbed. As an Eldian in Marley, she grew up learning the same anti-Paradise propaganda as everyone else. Naturally, she wished to aid Marley and eliminate Paradise, especially because most Eldians there believed that the people of Paradise were responsible for the Eldians outside being treated miserably. However, Peak fought not for Marley and against Paradise because she cared for her friends in Marley and wanted everyone to survive. She was also responsible for saving Riner and Zeke from the battle at Shiganshina. Ultimately, she became part of the Alliance and helped her own comrades as well as the Survey Corps in bringing the rumbling to an end. Marcel Gallard. Marcel does not have much of a role in the story despite being a prominent Titan shifter, but he does have an immense impact. His personality is what inspired Reiner's alter ego and how. Marcel had always been competent and was set to become a Titan shifter. While he would inherit the Jaw Titan, his brother Porco was supposed to inherit the Armored Titan over the less capable Riner. However, because Marcel wished for Porco to live a long life, he influenced the higher-ups to pick Riner instead, and eventually led the Paradise Island operation. During an internal squabble while on the way to the island, Marcel revealed how Riner only became a Titan because of Marcel's actions and not due to his own merit. The atmosphere got sour, but soon, a pure Titan emerged out of nowhere and attempted to eat Riner. As the leader and the brother figure of the group, Marcel saved Riner, but got caught in his stead. Before he could be saved, the Titan consumed him. This was a huge loss because Marcel was no ordinary human, but a Titan shifter in the Marleyan military. This moment also forced Riner to step up from being meek to a more assertive person, thus creating his new persona. Marcel's absence also put a strain on the team because 3 people had to do the work of 4. Emir. Born in Marley several years before the events of the story, Emir was picked to be part of a cult, not as a follower, but as a figurehead. Emir was never her real name, however. Because the cult was one with Eldian restorationists, they referred to the girl as Emir and prayed to her as their goddess, which is a direct reference to the founder, who has often been deemed as a goddess by many Eldians. However, she was captured after the Marleyan police found out about the movement and eventually turned into a Titan near the port outside the walls. For about 60 years, she mindlessly roamed outside the walls as an unintelligent pure Titan. On the day Marcel got eaten, the Titan that got him was Emir, which allowed her to acquire the Jaw Titan and shift back into her human form. She then infiltrated the walls and joined the Survey Corps. She revealed her nature as a Titan shifter during the battle at Utgard Castle, which allowed her to save her comrades and, most importantly, Historia. She was also the key figure in Historia's character development and made her accept her true identity as a Rays, which eventually led to the revelation of Rays being the true royal family. While Emir did everything she did due to her love and care for Historia, she had no allegiance to either Marley or Paradise. She chose to go back home and allow a warrior candidate to consume her to return the Titan shifter she had gotten her hands on. Porco Gallard. Porco had been training to be a warrior since Riner, Annie, and the like, but because Marcel convinced the higher-ups to not make him a shifter, he had to wait for his time to come. Following the return of Emir to Marley, she was eaten by Porco, which allowed him to acquire the Jaw Titan and finally become a warrior. After the time skip, we got to witness the true power of the Jaw Titan during the battle at Fort Slava and the raid on Liberio. When Eren was trying to consume the Warhammer Titan and gain her powers, Lara Tyber's crystallization prevented him from doing so. The hardened crystal could not be broken by any weapons or the average shifter either. However, Eren figured out that the Jaw Titan could do it, and both he and Mikasa ripped off Porco's Titan's limbs, allowing Eren to use the jaw as a nutcracker. This helped Eren acquire the power of the Warhammer, which aided him in his future battle against the Armored and Jaw Titans in Paradise. During that battle, however, Zeke's intervention and pressure from Eren and the Jaggerists threw Porco in a fix, and he sacrificed himself, allowing Falco, who had turned into a pure Titan, to eat him and acquire his Titan. Falco Grease. Part of the younger generation of warrior candidates, alongside the likes of Gabi, Zofia, and Udo, Falco was kinda similar to Riner in the sense that he wasn't the one with the greatest potential, but he could persevere. His family's reputation had fallen after one of the members was revealed to be part of the Restorationists. To uphold their reputation and prove the innocence of the Grease family, Falco's brother Colt, and eventually Falco himself, joined the warrior program. During the program, Falco fell in love with Gabi, who was the most promising candidate and set to inherit the Armored Titan. Because Falco did not want Gabi to fall to the curse of Ymir, he worked hard to outdo her. After the raid on Liberio, Gabby followed those from Paradise to their Zeppelin and Falco tagged along. After she killed Sasha, they were captured and imprisoned, but managed to escape due to Gabby. At some point, they met their fellow Marleyan Niccolo. When he learned that Gabby was the one who killed Sasha, Niccolo tried to smack her in the head with a bottle of wine because he was in love with Sasha. However, Falco shielded Gabby by taking the hit for her, while oblivious to the wine containing Zeke's spinal fluid. Because the bottle breaking caused him to ingest some of it, he later turned into a pure titan when Zeke shrieked. At this point, Porco sacrificed himself, allowing Falco to get his Jaw Titan. However, Falco's Titan turned out to be special because not only did he gain a Titan shifter, but he had ingested the spinal fluid of the shifter of the Beast Titan, who was Eldian royalty. This gave him the qualities of both the Jaw Titan and the Beast Titan, allowing Falco to transform into a winged creature. His ability to fly came in handy when the Alliance had to transport themselves from one place to another to get to Armen. After the rumbling was brought to an end and the power of the Titans eradicated, Falco became one of Levi's caretakers alongside Gabby, as the battle had disabled Levi, confining him to a wheelchair. Lara Tyber. Lara probably has one of the coolest Titans, but too bad we didn't get to see more of it. She hails from a noble Eldian household who had allied themselves with Marley during the time of Karl Fritz, allowing the world outside Eldia to gain their freedom from the tyrannical empire. During the events of the show, the Tyber family continued to be an affluent and respected Eldian family outside the walls due to their contributions. It was tradition for the Eldian noble houses to host one of the 8 Titan shifters while the royal family retained the founding Titan. While most of the Titans fell to the Marleyan military after the country gained freedom, the Tyber family kept the Warhammer Titan and worked alongside the military. At some point, the Warhammer was inherited by the sister of the family's figurehead, which was Lara Tyber. The day Willie Tyber gave his speech and declared war on Paradise, Armen attacked, which led to Lara Tyber's transformation into the Warhammer. She was then caught off guard by Mikasa, but despite blowing her nape off, she and Armen realized that the Warhammer was still alive. He later found out that the wielder had hidden herself under the stage via a cord-like structure her Titan had generated. Using the Jaw Titan's mouth, Armen broke Lara Tyber's crystallized shell and consumed the Warhammer. At some point during that fight, Lara had asked Armen for his last words before she killed him. Ironically, those sentences turned out to be her very last words. Tom Casaver. The wielder of the Beast Titan before Zeke, Tom Casaver was never much of a fighter. He joined the Warrior program to work as a scientist and conduct research on Titan science. He became a key father figure in Zeke's life as the two bonded over playing catch while Zeke was ignored in his own house where Grisha mistreated him for his personal goals. Casaver's influence taught Zeke about the Founder, who could alter the anatomy of her subjects. He believed in the sins committed by his ancestors, but also didn't want his kind to be brutally wiped out, which made him propose the idea of forced impotence. Eventually, Casaver's influence led to Zeke desiring to gain access to Emir's powers and using them to alter the anatomy of the Eldians, making them incapable of reproduction. After the military started getting wind of the restorationist movement, it was Casaver who told Zeke that if he revealed the truth about his parents to the military, he and his grandparents would be saved. As Casaver's 13-year curse came to its end, his Titan was consumed by Zeke, who became the Beast Titan and the War Chief. Zeke then kept Casaver's spectacles as a memento. Zeke Yagger. Zeke grew up being treated awfully by his father, who wanted him to become a warrior and go to Paradise and act as a spy for the Restorationists. Because Zeke could not physically keep up, he was subjected to his father's wrath. His mother was one of the last members of the Eldian royal family, which meant that Zeke was of royal blood. After gaining the Beast Titan from Casaver, Zeke's Titan acquired the physique of a long-limbed ape that allowed him to pitch rocks like baseballs and take out his opponents from a distance. Being royalty, he could also control pure Titans despite not having the Founder, and his spinal fluid, when fed to an Eldian, could turn that Eldian into a pure Titan if Zeke sent the signal. Although Zeke used these abilities in plenty, he never revealed the truth about him being royalty to Marley. With time, we learn that Zeke was not on the side of Marley or Eldia, but he wished to alter the anatomies of Eldians so that their inability to reproduce would give the outside world solace, while the Eldians themselves would be able to live out their lives. He also began to work alongside his half-brother Armen for the same cause, as Armen was the Founder. When Zeke cared for Armen as he thought that Armen was in on his dream, the latter had other plans. Towards the final arc, Zeke and Armen came into physical contact and found themselves in the paths. After a tug-of-war on getting their command over the Founder, Armen and Zeke took a trip down memory lane, where it was revealed that Armen had manipulated Grisha into killing the Ray's family. He also learned from a resentful Grisha that he was sorry for what he did to Zeke, and that Eren would be the one who would get his way. It turned out to be true, and Eren initiated the rumbling. In the end, Zeke met his end when Levi killed him, which was one of the things Levi desperately wanted to do for the past 4 years, as that was Erwin Smith's last command to him. Connies Mother. A resident of the Ragako village within the walls, Connies Mother turned into a Titan after Zeke's spinal fluid was fed to everyone in the village, while almost everyone left with Zeke in their unintelligent Titan forms to raid Utgard Castle. Connies Mother's Titan transformation confined her to her house, from where she could not get up. After Connie reached a deserted Ragako village, he felt like he had heard the Titan in his house welcoming him back. He also saw a physical resemblance between the pure Titan and his mother, which made him feel like it was his mother who was the Titan. Naturally, he began to want to feed a Titan shifter to her so that she would become human again. For this reason, he wanted the Titan serum held by Levi to be used to feed a shifter to her mother instead of Armen or Erwin. Later, he tried to sacrifice Falco to his mother, but eventually chose against it. After the rumbling ended and the power of the Titans ceased to exist, Connie's mother became human once again. Pixus. The former chief official of the southern territories of the garrison, Pixus was a charismatic member of the military within the walls and had sided with Erwin Smith when the Survey Corps launched a coup d'etat on the crown for Historia Reyes to become the queen. After the time skip, the members of the Survey Corps began to work more closely with Pixus. Pixus was always shown to have a fondness for alcohol, which ensured that he would drink plenty of the wine distributed in Paradise by the Marleyans they had allied with. During the battle launched within the walls by Marley after Eren's return from Liberio, Zeke's screams turned Pixus and the others into pure Titans. Ultimately, he was killed by the Survey Corps members who were not happy about killing him, but had to do so. Nile, commander of the military police brigade who was well acquainted with Erwin Smith, Nile was one of the many people who consumed the wine laced with Zeke's spinal fluid. During Marley's counter-raid on Shiganshina, Zeke's screams turned him into a pure Titan, following which he chases after the Browse family. He is then killed by Gabby after she shoots him using anti-Titan rifles. Varys and Levi's squad. While Zeke pretends to be on Paradise's side with no one but Eren knowing his true desires, he is confined to the anti-Titan forests by Levi and his squad, part of which was Garrus. At the same time, everyone within the squad was supplied with wine, which meant they had all consumed Zeke's Titan fluid. After the assassination of Zachary at the hands of Jaggerists, Zeke attempted to flee from Levi and, using his shrieks, turned all of his subordinates into pure Titans, including Varys. To get to Zeke, Levi killed every single Titan, who were previously his underlings, and then defeated Zeke once again before planting him with a Thunder Spear. Eren Krueger. During the time the Restorationists were operational, they had an owl working within the Marleyan military. The owl was an Eldian and a subject of Emir who was on the side of the Restorationists but pretended to be a Marleyan and often did their dirty work to keep their trust. However, he always relegated information from the military to the Restorationists. After the movement was caught red-handed, its members were tortured into announcing who the owl was. However, no one knew his true identity, so the torture yielded no results. Ultimately, the members were taken to the fort outside the walls and turned into pure Titans by 2 men. As Grisha was about to be killed, however, one of the 2 men revealed himself to be the owl, or rather, Eren Krueger, and he held the attack Titan. He threw his partner to the Titans, because she had previously fed Faye Jagger to the dogs, resulting in his demise. He then took down some of the ships at the port in his Titan form and revealed that he didn't have much time left, which meant that he would have to pass his Titan down. In the end, he convinced Grisha to live within the walls, remarry, and start a family to save Mikasa and Armen. While Grisha at that time did not know who Mikasa and Armen were, Krueger claimed to not know them either, despite having mentioned their names. He even made a remark about not knowing whose memories had come to him, which was interesting because up until then, the Titans were known to acquire the memories of their past wielders. It is later revealed that the Attack Titan could send its memories to the past from the future, which is how Eren Jagger, as the final Attack Titan, influenced its past wielders. This was also the reason why Krueger, just like every other wielder of the Attack Titan, had a mindset that pushed him to keep moving forward toward freedom no matter what. Grisha Yagger. Having consumed Krueger and his Titan, Grisha infiltrated the walls and did exactly as he had asked him to. He married Carla and started a family with her as Eren came into the picture. He also acquainted himself with the Ackerman family and became aware of the existence of Mikasa and Armen. In the first episode, he learned about Eren wanting to become part of the Survey Corps and promised to show him his basement, which held many secrets. As Shiganshina fell, Grisha went to the underground chapel where the Ray's family prayed and tried to convince them to do something about it. When Freda did not comply, he attempted to kill them, but stopped as he, as a doctor, could not bring himself to kill people. However, Eren from the future appeared in Grisha's memories and forced him to avenge Zeke Yagger and his former wife, Emir Fritz, which led to Grisha killing most of the Ray's family and consuming the founder. He then gave Eren the key to his basement, took away his memory, and turned Eren into a pure Titan to get eaten by him. This led to Eren acquiring the attack and the founding Titan. Towards the end of Season 3, Eren reaches the basement of his house and finds Grisha's notes, which reveal the truth about the outside world, as well as Grisha's backstory, turning the story of Attack on Titan on its head. Eren Yeager! As the protagonist and the final Attack Titan, Eren's will was what made every single wielder of the Titan in history dedicate themselves to the pursuit of freedom without ever looking back. He used his ability to send future memories to the past and his access to the alternate realities across the paths as the founding Titan to manipulate the events of his reality, as he knew that the only world where his friends survived and the Titan curse came to an end was the one where Eren began the rumbling. He even sent Emir Fritz's smiling Titan to his own house to kill Carla, so that the trauma would radicalize a younger Eren. He then sends his younger self the necessary information in bits and pieces, giving him just enough to continue living, but never too much to change his actions. By the time Season 4 rolls around, Eren was a full-fledged antagonist, but he was never evil. He hated having to do what he did, but since the early days, he would always give in to his violent, animalistic tendencies and talk about destroying everything, killing every Titan, and once, even ending the world. In the end, it turned out to be true, as he did end every Titan by helping in the removal of the Titan powers and almost ended the world. Before causing the rumbling, he distanced himself from his friends, hoping to turn them against him. During the climax, however, he did not take away the free will of the people because he needed them to kill him and appear as heroes in the eyes of the public despite being Eldians. He hoped for their contributions to save their lives. Having gained the power of the founder, Eren was also connected to the source of all living matter. After he was separated from it by the Alliance, Mikasa went in for the kill and beheaded Eren, after which she regained her memories of the alternate reality where Eren and Mikasa lived out Eren's remaining years in the cabin together, after which paradise was destroyed. Eren's sacrifice bore fruit in the end, as his loved ones got the opportunity to live long lives in a world devoid of walls and Titan powers, eventually dying of old age. Marvelous verdict! What makes the Titans so interesting here is the fact that no one is the protagonist or the antagonist. It all boils down to the lens you're looking at the story from. In fact, the protagonist himself is the antagonist, villain, and the anti-hero all at once. And with that, today's video comes to an end. What did you think of the Titans, and which one was your favorite? Did you enjoy this video? If so, don't forget to like and comment down below. Until next time, thanks for watching, stay safe out there, and have a marvelous day.